Wow, what a beautiful day. And we're going to read, Wow, It's Great Being a Duck. This is by Joan Rankin. Wow, it's great being a duck. And there's that mama duck. And I can see there's one last egg that hasn't hatched yet. Lily was the last born, the last to hatch, and the smallest and skinniest. All the other ducklings had already left the nest when at last Lily's egg began to crack. Lily peeped out. She saw her mother's eye. Then she saw her mother's feathers and her mother's feet. Crash! Lily fell out of her egg into the big world. Lily's mother was very proud. She wanted everyone to admire Lily. Come swim, quacked Lily's older brothers and sisters. Come along, Lily, coaxed Mother Duck. You must learn to swim, or Furry Legs, Long-tailed, Sharp-snout, Pink-tongued Fox will gobble you up. But Lily did not want to take her feet off the ground. I told you I'd drown. So, while her brothers and sisters were swimming and diving, Lily practiced walking. Plump, plump, one foot after the other, into the dark green forest she walked. Along the long and winding path she went until she met Mr. Furry Legs. What's a nice little duck like you doing in the dark green forest? Asked Mr. Furry Legs. I'm walking, replied Lily proudly. You are very small and skinny, remarked Mr. Furry Legs. I will show you where you can eat tender nasturtium leaves. You need fattening up. Lily ate so many nasturtium leaves she could hardly waddle home. A week later she met Mr. Furry Legs Longtail. My, you do walk well for a duck, said Mr. Furry Legs Longtail. Thank you, said Lily. I shall never take my feet off the ground. It's far too dangerous. I love walking too, said Mr. Furry Legs Longtail. Let's stroll together in the forest, and I'll show you some tasty things for a growing duck like you to eat. Lily ate many wild berries. She ate until her beak turned purple. She ate until her feathers turned purple. How do you feel? Asked her new friend. Fat, replied Lily. Good, said Mr. Furry Legs Longtail. I like fat ducks. The following week, Lily returned to the berry patch, and there she met Mr. Furry Legs Longtail Sharpsnout. While she looked for any remaining berries, they talked. Do you have a large family? Asked her companion. Oh yes, said Lily. I have lots of big brothers and sisters. Really? Then I must show you where to find snails. I believe they're very good for making ducks big, strong, and fat. The snails were so tasty, so absolutely scrumptious, Lily stayed until she'd eaten every one. Do bring your brothers and sisters next time, called Mr. Furry Legs Longtail Sharpsnout. Okay, said Lily, but they can't walk as quickly as I can. And off she waddled, her tail dragging on the ground. The next week, Mr. Furry Legs Longtail Sharpsnout Pink Tongue came walking along the forest path. There he found Lily sitting alone on the path, sobbing. Why are you crying all by yourself? He asked. My family has flown away to a bigger pond, she wailed. Oh dear, I was hoping to have a party with all of you, but why don't you come along with me? Lily stopped crying. You are kind, she sniffed as she got up to follow her new friend into the dark green forest. Hurry, hurry, you really must walk a little faster, said Mr. Furry Legs Longtail Sharpsnout Pink Tongue, licking his lips. How rude, thought Lily, resting for a while. Come on, he snarled at her. Just who does he think he is? Quacked Lily, looking up. She glared at his furry legs. She studied his long tail. She observed his sharp snout. She goggled at his pink tongue, slipping across a row of needle-sharp teeth. Lily squeaked and Lily squawked when she saw Mr. Furry Legs Longtail Sharpsnout Pink Tongue. Fox! Oh no! Quickly, Lily turned and ran, flap, 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 faster and faster along the winding path, through the dark green forest, back to the pond. Splash into the pond. Paddle, paddle, faster and faster. Lily could feel the panting breath of Mr. Fox. She could feel his prickly whiskers on his tail. On her tail. Paddle, paddle went her feet. Flap, flap went her wings. And suddenly, she was flying up, up over the pond, up over the trees, right out of the reach of Mr. Fox. Up over the hills and onto the other side. Below, in the big pond, she saw her family. Down she glided and landed just like an expert. Look, look, quacked her brothers and sisters. Hey, Lily, we thought you could only walk. So did I, said Lily, but now I can do everything. And she could. Wow, it's great being a duck. Gee, it's tough being a snail. And that is, wow, it's great being a duck.